Yeah, so welcome, Adrian. It's a pleasure to meet you, man. As we were talking before, I had you on the call today because I saw you've been super active in the community. You were active in our community call the other day. You were doing live cold calls. You were vulnerable. You even had kind of a rough one with one of the people. They weren't very pleased with the call, and I thought you handled it really well. So, little backstory about you. I that effort made me want to reach out to you and kind of learn about your journey with Sift because I know you're relatively new. So yeah, if you could give us a little bit of information about you, where you're located, kind of your real estate journey, as well as why the heck are you even a part of Sift? Just kind of give us that story there.
Sure thing. Yeah, so I've been in real estate for about a couple 7 years now. Time
Okay.
flies. And yeah, I recently found Sift. I'm really glad I did. It was kind of one of those things where I worked for a wholesale brokerage, and I did a lot of talk a lot of cold calling just in the
Okay.
beginning, but more to invest. I was on the investor side, so I wasn't doing like the acquisitions. I was more so doing the dispo. So
Okay.
that was my introduction to real estate. And that was back in like 2018, and the wholesale. I think to me at least the wholesale brokerage model was pretty new, and it was exciting, and now everyone's doing it. I feel like, especially here in California. But
Okay.
yeah, so I really kind of, I guess you could say, and even before that, I was doing cold calling for mortgage. So definitely got comfortable on the phones, and people get
Sure.
mad at me, whatever. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so then I was doing that, and about 5 years into working at one of those companies, kind of did the transition to working on my own because I realized that I could be doing I. Essentially what I was doing was just and then I was doing acquisitions, so
Sure.
I was finding these deals, and then the company would sell them, and I would get like 20% of the profit. So I'd be like, well, I'm finding these great deals, let me just sell them myself. So
Yeah.
it was a lot of like agent relationships, MLS. I wasn't doing any direct to seller. Um,
Okay.
and so I was kind of treating it like I didn't have a CRM. I just had my phone. I just had my computer, like emails, and was just
Mhm.
calling agents, calling MLS and making a lot of offers, but not doing direct to seller. And as I kind of my real estate journey progressed, I started, realizing like, okay, there's like an under market here where I'm at the surface level, but there's a deeper level, right, of people who are getting deals, and like I want to be like them. I want to get straight to the source,
Yeah.
and so that's kind of I jumped into trying to do direct to seller, and that brought me to SEO. I started doing a lot of SEO, and but I really was like, okay, I need to like have a consistent deal flow. And the big thing was transitioning from kind of more of like a hobby way of doing
Okay.
things where you just like have a few contacts you call. And
Yeah.
um I needed like data management. I needed um a system and like how do you say, like a strategy, right, to attack all this data.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I don't know. I honestly I can't remember how I found you guys. Oh, I think it was somebody on Twitter was like, "Oh, if the best list, you got to stack these two lists in REI Sift." And I was
Twitter.
like, "Yeah,
Shit.
yeah, I forgot who it was."
I mean X,
Um,
sorry, X,
yeah,
X.
X, right. And yeah, when he said like list stacking, I was like, "Oh, list stacking. Like, why don't I like I'm gonna look into this." So that's how I found you guys, and I just, was watching YouTube videos just like these,
Okay,
right? Of people,
sure.
users who were basically kind of in the same position I was,
Hmm.
little like kind of didn't know what
Hmm.
next step to take. Um, and I, looked, watch. I did the was it the first to market challenge?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, I noticed that in your Facebook post. You had mentioned that. Okay.
yeah. So I saw Tyler, his videos, and he was talking about this first to market, and I was like, what is first to market? Like I didn't even know any of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's Sensei Flow.
Yep.
And so I was like, okay, I got to do this. So I just kind of stopped everything I was doing and for like a month just dove right into the whole
Yeah.
REI Sift dojo
Yeah.
like training stuff.
Can
And
I, yeah, can I hop
yeah,
in
go
real
ahead.
quick?
Yeah, go for it.
So I
Yep.
noticed, so in that part of your timeline, that's when I started noticing some of your Facebook posts. You had mentioned you started doing a first to market flow and you said your contact rates were really
Hmm.
good. What,
Yeah.
can you elaborate on that a little bit? What were they previously? Like how, you know what I mean? Like just
Well,
kind of,
so I wasn't even doing direct to seller. I was I guess the only sort of like bulk marketing I was doing was maybe calling agents.
okay.
But well, I was kind of looking through the community and the posts, and I saw a lot of people, saying like, "Hey, my like all the pitfalls, like my number is spam. Um, how should I
Mm-hmm.
call people and do not call us?" And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was like, and then people were like, "My connections rate is like 1%. Like I'm not getting hold of anybody." And so I
Mm-hmm.
just did the Sensei flow. I got all the numbers. Ahead of time, the skip tracing from a few different
Mm-hmm.
sources. And I just started click to call, and I was like, people are answering, and they're
Yeah.
talking to me. Like this is I built it all
Wow.
up in my head, and I mean, yeah, some people aren't interested, sure,
Sure.
but I Tyler, I love the mentality, right, of or even with some other users,
Mm-hmm.
like the point of the first call is not to you're not trying to close a deal. I mean, hey, great if they want to sell, but it's all part of that whole like funnel, right? You want to
Mm-hmm.
just go to the records, and get the right numbers, have a
Yeah.
conversation with somebody, and then you'll touch them, mail them, call them down the road, some more. So, still refining that process, but
Yeah.
I mean, that was a game changer for me. I think that's how I'm going to do things.
Yeah. That's the typical kind of response when people really commit to it, and you've definitely committed to it. One of the things that I'm curious about, that I think is really interesting is when you decided, I'm going to go from working in a business to working on one of my own. What did
Mhm.
that process kind of feel like for you? I mean, obviously there's always a tipping point, but that build up to that tipping point, it can feel overwhelming. It can
Yeah.
feel the uncertainty, a little bit of fear. Like what was that like for you, and what did that tipping moment feel like for you, and what did that kind of look like?
Yeah, no, great question. I would say, yeah. So, like I said, like I when I was doing it kind of on my own initially, it was I wouldn't even call it a business, right? It was more just
Hmm.
kind of I guess it was overflow from my previous book of business, and I was just kind of on coasting, and I was still making, because in California, some of these markets, there's some big fees, and you
Sure.
get like a few of those a year, and you're set. You have you're not set, but you have a good, like you're
Hmm.
it's decent. So, yeah. So, but I was kind of just I'm not sure what was the tipping point, but I was after a while, like you know what? I think it was last year, right? Last year I made maybe like 15 or 20 grand in like the first like
Okay.
7 months, right? Like it was
Hmm.
just super just terrible. I was just like, oh
Hmm.
my God, this is not good. And then the last 2 months I made like over 100 grand. Like it was like 150 or
Nice.
something. Yeah.
We'll have to
So
talk about that next.
and it was just like, but I don't like that feeling. I can't do that, I don't want to struggle in the whole year and then just like be and it always kind of ends up like that. Like everything it's always it always ends up kind of coming together, but I don't want to have the stress. I want to be able to have a predictable okay, I make
Hmm.
this many calls, I get this many leads, I
Hmm.
have this many closings, and this is the income. It might vary, but I
Sure.
want to have a predictable income. So that was the motivation for me to really kind of like take that next step. Like, okay, let me
Okay.
like, yeah, let's get into this. Let's make a business out of this. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay. So on the topic of the past couple of months have been pretty successful for you, do you feel like you have those numbers now where you kind of know roughly how many dials you need to make to get a certain amount of leads to get a general range of revenue? Are you kind of at that point or are you kind of drawing near?
I'm not even at that point. Yeah, to be
Okay.
honest, I'm
Okay.
I'm I'm still I've been doing it f like the full Sensei flow for a month, and I'm only hitting probates. So I
Copy
know
that.
that that's kind of a longer game.
That's
But
okay.
that is a niche that I think is really solid, at least to start with, right? I
Hmm.
want to kind of start a little small and then I'll build on from there. Um, but I'm getting it kind of in the flow of things. Like, okay, like I think Tyler says to upload at least 200 records, and I'm like
Yep.
at 150, and I'm
You're getting
realizing,
close.
yeah, it's like I'm starting to see, right? Like
Hmm.
if I'm short a few records, like
Hmm.
10 records in the week, then I might not get that extra lead that
Sure.
I wanted or something. But um, yeah, yeah. So to answer your question, yeah, I'm just kind of starting out on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's that flow looking like? Are you get pulling them daily, weekly?
I pull them daily. So I'm in like SoCal. There's like five big counties. It's a
Yep.
huge metro area, right? So
Sure.
I'm in Orange, and then there's LA,
Hmm.
and then there's also San Bernardino and Riverside, which I target. So every county obviously is different. There is a service that I subscribe to that because pretty much everywhere except San Bernardino, you have to go, at least to my knowledge, because I've looked everywhere.
Hmm.
You have to go to the courthouse
Okay.
to pull the records. So there's just no way I can. I mean, I do go to Orange County because I'm in Orange County,
Yep.
but there's no way I can drive up to downtown LA and Orange County and Riverside.
Yep.
So for most of them, most of the records I do get from a service. It's good. It's only like $70 a month, and
Okay.
they upload it like it might be a couple days late to the party, but
Still pretty
it's
quick.
something. Yeah, yeah. So I get it from there. I have to clean it up, and then I put it into Sift. Well, I do all the skip tracing. Yeah, no, I put it into Sift, skip
Hmm.
trace it in Sift, export, skip trace in Skip Genie, put it back into Sift. So I have a lot of phone numbers, and then I also use Forewarn because I'm a licensed broker. So
Yep.
I use yeah. So and then I kind of just go through. I think I was listening to this one of your users, Jacob Bluestein, I think is his name.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was saying how he has his VAs do like a kind of like a not a deep dive, but like they look at all the phone numbers for each individual record like up front. And
Hmm.
I like that. I'm doing that myself, and I that way I try to get a hold of somebody.
Yep.
And maybe that's why the contact rate is a little, I guess to me seemed
It's probably
high.
pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you're putting the
yes.
effort in.
Yeah. So it's a lot of, like I got to figure out how to, maybe give this job to somebody else eventually, but it's a lot of manual,
Okay.
effort up front. But yeah, I mean, that's the time if you want to get them on the phone, it's going to be, yeah, before everybody else starts,
So
blowing
to
them up.
kind of try and bring it to like a bulleted list, if I get a little over the top with it, cut me off. But you went from a point where you were working for somebody, you started working for yourself. You were a little bit scattered. You called it what felt like what was a hobby.
Hmm.
Um, then you got a little more serious, took it more into a professional situation. You realized you didn't need a lot of data. You just needed good data, quick data
Hmm.
from right from the county. You're gathering that. You built a process. You're following it. At first, you were kind of you're doing 15, 20 in the 7, 8 months, something like that. It wasn't quite what you were looking for, but now that you've followed along with that process in the past couple months, you've hit about a six-figure mark and it's only growing. And I believe it's just you in the business, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's just me
Okay.
for now. Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
you're
just,
heavily involved,
mhm.
but since you are sticking to the process and it's probably pretty cut and dry, right? It's
Yeah.
they're pretty robotic, but it
Yeah.
works. At a certain
Yeah.
point, you're going to be able to be less involved, I'd imagine. And I'm sure you're already starting to think about who you're probably going to hire, that sort of thing. But I mean, you're putting food on your table and you're supporting yourself in a pretty short period of time in a business where people think they need uh basically entire counties worth of every sort of piece of data monthly. And you're doing
Hmm.
like 160 records a month and you're just really focused on it. So to
Yeah.
me, that's really exciting. That's really interesting. And it's a pretty common story. If people watch our interviews, it's pretty much the story every time, but it's a story worth repeating over and
Yeah.
over. So that's really cool, man.
Yeah. No, thanks. That's actually how I watched your interviews all the time. So
Oh,
that's how
okay.
I
Okay.
that's kind of why what got me to kind of you
Okay.
going through this method, right? Of not I mean, yes, I do want to, add in more records eventually, different
Hmm.
vexations, but to start, like let's just get, let's get the cadence of the Sensei flow. Let's see what it's all about, right? Let's understand and see and really yeah, figure out why it works and maybe how I can possibly tweak it. And then from there, yeah, add on. But I saw, yeah, a lot of your users like one gentleman, I think forgot his name, but he was doing only probates and he was
Hmm.
he was doing like 800K a year and then I
Yeah,
think
Colin. Or man, I forgot his name, but yeah, in
forgot
the
his name.
boot
Yeah.
camp. Yeah.
Yeah, and the boot camp, right.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
yeah.
And and yeah, it just was like, well, like let me just because I know I probates, right, it's they have to sell. I mean they most of the
Hmm.
times they're gonna sell. So um but and then also thing I'm thinking of is well like I'm sure you've heard, right? The silver tsunami, the whole baby
Yeah,
boomers
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of
Hmm.
aging
Hmm.
out. I mean, that's going to be huge in the next like 10, 15 years, even right now. I
Sure.
mean, people are, yeah, so
You're
that's
just
that's a
preparing
huge,
for it,
yeah, exactly. Like we're gonna,
basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy over here, um, but yeah, that's
What's interesting about the guy, I wish I didn't forget his name. I'm gonna have to pull up the YouTube while we're chatting, remember his name. He
mhm.
definitely something O'Neill. I can't remember his first name, but he's doing 800K from 150 dials a day. So now you're getting 150 prospects a month. So it's kind of interesting. You can almost see a correlation. If you had the same amount of data, but seven times more, you'd be
Yeah,
basically, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
So that's
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah. It's yeah, it's just about right. You just kind of I mean, I didn't want to overwhelm myself at first and then,
Hmm.
you know, not hit my, not call the records or not, just start slacking or something like that. I wanted to make it
Yeah.
manageable. That way I could, yeah, build on top of it.
His name's Sam. Sam O'Neill.
Sam,
That's right.
yes, that's the
Yeah.
guy. Yep, yep.
I'm curious about what that stage of your journey when you were calling agents. What did that look like? Because
Well,
I'm sure it's a valuable thing to do. I mean, to have agents
oh
on your
yeah, I
side's a
mean,
great thing. So, what did that look like?
yeah, I mean, I mean, I'm a huge proponent of agent relationships. I mean, they get some of the best deals. They're getting a little savvy now over here in SoCal. They're kind of like building their own lists and they, blast them out but yeah, some of the best deals I've gotten have been from eight pocket listings, agent relationships.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean it's just that's kind of what I was taught on was, calling agents and
Hmm.
um kind of wanted to understand their language and their motivations. I mean,
Hmm.
I enjoy talking to agents most of the time. It's just, sometimes there's the ones that just they act like
Yeah. And you're
they're
just kind
just
of
on the
seeing what they have and what they don't necessarily want, like their cruddy
well,
stuff they don't.
yeah, so I either if I'm doing MLS, it's like, I basically just try to build rapport and uh I just make the offer and stay on top of them and even if I don't get that one, I kind of save their number, follow up for anything in the future. Um but yeah, I'll usually just maybe pull a bunch of like listing agents who sold a property or a fixer, right, in the last
Mhm.
30, 60 days, put them on a dialer, call them, say, hey, if you have anything, like, can you let me know? I'll
Mhm.
save your number. And then it's one of those like down the road, right? You get this random text and a pocket listing in this city. Let me know if you're interested. And
Yeah.
then those are the ones that turn into deals. So
Okay.
usually, it's always right about that down the road potential.
Mhm.
It's not about that immediate property that they have. It's always, yeah.
Okay.
So
So then your off market stuff, you're doing the call text voicemail 3 times, you're doing the Sensei flow like that, like
for
pretty
yeah,
verbatim.
so I'm not doing the texting. I
Okay.
wasn't, yeah, I'm still kind of not sure.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
tough
not
right now.
sure. Yeah, I don't want to like, how do you
Mhm.
say? I don't want to get myself, because I got my 10 DLC approved and all
Mhm.
that, and I just want to try to be a good boy. And I just, I'll figure out maybe that later. Maybe once in a while I'll send a text
Yeah.
but yeah, just calling in voicemail for now.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then are you calling on smartphone or I thought I
I'm
remember.
using Kixie.
That's right, you're using Kixi.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
using Kixie. Tyler set me up with that beta integration, I think it was, and I mean, I like it. It's that click to calls. I've never done click to call. It's always been cell phone,
Yep.
so the click to call is pretty convenient.
Hmm.
And then I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna do my rehash campaigns. I might have
Sure.
to, yeah, to get a dialer or something like that.
Okay. Were you in the call yesterday for that?
No, I
I don't
missed
know
the
if I saw
call.
you.
I'm gonna watch the recording. Yeah,
Okay.
so
Yep.
yeah.
Are you comfortable with hopping into your SIFT account?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't know. I haven't done a deal yet I've only
Okay.
been doing it. Yeah, yeah. So I can show you my Sift account, but
Let's do it.
yeah, I wish I had a
You're still new with us and you're sorting it out. So
yeah.
it's not I'm not looking for anything in particular. Because to me, where you're at, I mean, is clearly not where you're going to be in a year. It's just, oh, I got to
Right.
share. You're clearly not going to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
there in a year. Um, and we always do the follow-up calls. So to me, this is a really relatable call for someone out
Mhm.
there who's sitting at their desk thinking, man, do I have the courage to do
Yeah,
this on
yeah.
my own?
All right.
Yeah, just kind of walk us through how you're keeping organized, how you're working. Just, yeah, talk to us about what your day looks like.
Sure, sure. Okay, so I mean, it's pretty standard stuff.
Good. Good.
And from what Tyler has been teaching. So yeah, I'll once I upload everything, like I said, I upload it from my you say Excel
Yep,
sheet
you got all
here.
your spreadsheets, you got your week
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah, so I put all, everything here.
Yep. Talk
And
about that,
then
putting your week numbers, staying organized. How do you do that?
yeah, yeah, so yeah, I know, right? These are the nitty-gritty things again. Uh so I'll have Excel sheets separated um by weeks. And there's probably a better way to do this, honestly, but
I don't
I'm
know, might
still,
not be.
yeah, starting out because yeah, I have it on different files, and then
Uh-huh.
once this lets me kind of see the weekly total, right?
Mhm.
So, and then this is like the I separate for each day, right? I have them yeah, separated. So like
Yep.
this week's kind of been a little short. I'm not hitting my record goals. Just because that's just how it is with the data. I
Hmm.
only target a specific um I don't target all probates. I target just the houses that are, as you can see, like a year built. I mean, sometimes,
Hmm.
maybe like an 89, but I like the ones that are, and this is just from right doing deals for a while. I mean, the houses that are like you start to see, right? You start to see the properties that are transacted. I mean, there's a certain like type of
Hmm.
property, and especially here in SoCal, that you see the best fees on. So I try to stay with the ones that are built in a certain year.
Yep.
Only full authority probates. Oh yeah, that's California, but only full authority. Square footage. I don't like to go above. This is an anomaly, but I like to stay below like 3,000 square feet.
Hmm.
I love to see when the petitioners are out of state. And then yeah, I have the notes in here: decedent name,
Yep.
conditioner relationship. So if they're a son, daughter, I do the case number, and then this is a new one I've been doing, the hearing date.
Okay.
Um, I get that luckily, yeah, in California, I don't know how it is with other states, but it tells you on the document the next like if they're gonna be
Like a
uh
follow-up appointment.
yeah, like they have a court date, so if they're gonna be confirmed as the executor or the administrator, and
Sure.
then whether it's a probate for if they have a will or they didn't have a will. So all those little details, and then I upload them to um, I have a macro I run, and basically the raw data file gets put into this format, and then
Okay.
I go ahead and upload it, and then I skip trace them in Sift, and
Okay.
then I probably could do this a little easier too, but I skip trace them in Sift first, then I export them, and then
Mm-hmm.
I skip trace them in Skip Genie, bulk skip
Sure.
trace,
Yeah.
and and then I re-upload them with the new numbers, and then
Okay,
they're
so
pretty
you skip
much
twice right away.
skip twice right
Yeah.
away, and then as I'm going through the records, I have
Yep.
forewarn open, and I'm like, okay, this number appears in Skip Genie and forewarn, and it's already in the account. Like this is probably the number. Let me call this number. And so
That's
yes,
that's powerful.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Well,
powerful.
yeah, it helps, right? Well, I love getting the pickup on the first dial and the first number. It's like, oh, great, you saved me like 10, bad
Yeah.
numbers to,
Yeah.
ruin my spam my numbers. So, um, I like doing that, but it's a little more labor intensive up front.
Hmm.
Um, okay, and then yeah, the filter records I do. Um, I had the default what is it? The default
Account.
settings put in. Yeah,
Yeah,
I had
nice.
them put in, but I did the first to market one. Um, I just followed from the first to market challenge. I just copied what Tyler did.
Hmm.
I tweaked it maybe a tiny bit, but yeah, I just start with the male. Um, I don't really kind of iffy on the whole, right? If the decedent spouse is the one petitioning, so I'm not sure. I kind of like to bring him in, just like have him on the list, but I don't really call him. I might mail him, but that's kind of I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep doing that. We'll see.
Okay.
Uh, yeah. So then just I mail them, then they go to the next filter. I send letters. I send handwritten letters, or not handwritten, handwritten envelopes with a
Sure.
mail merge letter. And then I do, yeah, they're ready to skip. Oh, that's when I send them to Skip Genie. And then, whoops, and it was after skip tracing, then they're ready to market. So then they're ready to
Yep.
call. So I have some I need to call today. I have, whoops, no, I have to filter by the week.
Yep.
Yeah,
Look at
I
that.
have a bunch of records that I didn't
That's all right.
yeah.
You're
So
organized though, at least.
yeah. Yeah, so I have some I need to upload, right? But this is just I have to upload the ones for today. But this is all I have in here, and then I have the ones from cold call attempt one. Let's see. So I do, yeah, I have
Yep. There you go.
three total calls attempts. So the first one, and then attempt one, attempt two. So I noticed that usually on the first attempt is when, oops, is when they're going to be where is still kind of like
That's all right.
this is like I wish I
Don't
was
worry about it.
a
You're
little,
still getting used to it.
yeah. Oh, here we go. Any text.
Perfect.
Yeah, so these
Perfect.
but these are just from week 18, so then I'd have to uh yeah. So yeah, basically they just kind of go down the road here, and
Mhm.
yeah, I call them three times, and then after that they get into the the rehash pool, and I need to do my first rehash. I mean, I haven't even done the
Cool.
first rehash, so yeah, yeah.
Well,
Still, you know,
that'll fill up more of your day too. If you get done doing all your calls and follow-ups, it'll give you more opportunity to.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So, but you know, I mean, I still this is enough to have my plate full. I mean, believe it or
Hmm.
not, it's like you know, it takes time. I gotta, you know, clean the data, skip trace it, and do all this stuff. And I still have, you know, the other deals that I'm doing just from, you know, still agent
Hmm.
and SEO stuff. So it's, yeah, that's the next step in the journey, right? Is knowing how to,
That
uh,
rehash, I think I'm a pretty. I think about metaphors a lot, and with the rehash, I think of it as when you go to the fridge and you're hungry, and all you have is the groceries from the last time you went. But you don't really necessarily want that grocery that's in the fridge. You kind of want the new groceries. But it's like
hmm.
all you want is to fill your belly, and you could fill your belly pretty easily if you just went through the old groceries and just ate the damn food.
Yeah,
It's the same
yeah, yeah,
thing with
yeah.
data. Like if you just go through the data you already have and
It's
talk to the
like,
people you have never gotten contact with, you'll probably find some freaking deals.
yeah, that's like the leftover rice and potatoes that you
Yeah,
know
you're
are
like,
gonna
oh man.
it'll fill you up, but it, you don't necessarily it's not the leftovers from last night
Yeah,
from that restaurant you liked.
yeah. It's not the
Um,
food's fault. It's not the data's fault. It's your fault. You just got to eat the
yeah.
damn thing.
Yeah, so I mean it's and I've you know, even I actually when somebody says they're not interested, I'm like, okay, great. Like, hey, you know, you're gonna get hit on my rehash, and
Yeah.
I have a status for you now. Like,
Hmm.
fine, you know, and especially
Hmm.
when it's a property, because I know that's why I mean, I could get more records in probates. I narrowed down to the areas that the properties
Hmm.
that I know are. I mean, they're gonna sell them, like whether
Yeah.
it's through a listing agent or an investor. So, even if they're not interested, I'm like, okay, well, your house is, you know, it's needs 100K in repairs and you live 2 hours away.
Hmm.
Like, I know you're probably gonna sell, and that's why I'm here. And the whole probate thing, I very come off as very respectful,
Hmm.
and I think that's really important. Is yeah, just being respectful and not pushy and not
Yep.
like just yeah, kind of understanding where these people are coming from and
Sure.
some of them right, they're filing
You
probate
can't.
years after the passing, but um yeah, it's just a good niche to I think to
Yeah.
be an expert in.
Well, that brings up a good point. I'll have you stop sharing and we'll kind of wrap this up.
Yeah.
The pressure of the cold call diminishes a lot when you change your relationship with a not interested, like what you're talking
Hmm.
about. That pressure of like, man, I need to get a deal, that kind of just disappears when you say to yourself, the not interested is valuable next week, next month, next year. And the benefit of responding that way to the not interested is it actually introduces the humanity back into the conversation. Like what you're saying. You're talking to someone whose family member probably just died. And you need to respect that and you need to remain ethical. And that was also another thing I noticed when you did do your calls was you did have one of the more serious I'm not interested that I've ever even witnessed. I've never had one like that myself. That person was, that person was upset and you
Hmm.
handled it extremely respectfully. And because of that, selfishly, that might benefit for you in the future when that person remembers that you weren't chasing them down, chasing the ambulance, that kind of thing. So I think that's
Hmm.
really cool. The not interested keeps things human, but it also keeps your business running. So
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. And thank you for being on this call, man.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
second
My
you got
pleasure.
on those calls, I knew I wanted to talk to you. Um, is there anything you feel like we should talk about before we close out the call?
Um, no, I mean, shout out my company, the California Home Buyer. If you got a deal
Yeah,
in SoCal, I'm happy to partner
perfect.
with you on it. We do flip as well. So, but
Yeah,
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for the opportunity, and I
Yep.
appreciate you reaching out. It's been a pleasure.
Of course. And we're going to get you that affiliate code set up. So we're going to put that in the description.
Perfect.
And if REI Sift interests you today, use the link, use his link below, and we'll get him a little kickback while we're at it. So thank you so much, man.
Right on.
Obviously, we're going to be following up in the future because, like I said, where you're at today is definitely not where you're going to be in 6 months to a year. We've seen it time and time again. You're putting the effort in, you're active in the community, and we thank you for that. So awesome.
Thank you.